Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Oliver Wiedmaier at Ollie underscore all caps on Twitter. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the screener that I use on TradingView. This is to find falling wedges. Other people call them high tide flags. I've heard them called downtrend line, breaks, wedge pops. It doesn't really matter what you want to call it, but this is when there's a strong uptrend and then the price starts to fall, volume starts to dry up, and then at some point the price gets sucked back up, and then when volume comes through, the price will shoot through the um, falling trend line and then create higher highs and will hopefully take out the highest part of the wedge and make higher price action. So what you need for the scanner is simply to go onto tradingview.com. So I will show you what the screener looks like. Okay, so when you get to tradingview.com, on the bottom here, you'll see stock screener. So you just want to raise the screener up, and then you just want to get over to the filters. And these are the filters that I use. You can either scroll down like this, or you can just type in on the search filter. But first thing we're going to do is go to symbol type common stock ETF. This is so that you eliminate any mutual funds, trust funds, all the things that we don't really need. You actually might not even need ETF, but I keep it there anyways. Very important. We want to make sure the price is above $10. Some people like $12. I think $10 is just fine. Anything below is just trash. Weekly performance, you want it between -2 and 2. You don't want a lot of action happening in the week prior to the big breakout. You want it to be very calm. That's what we want. We want it to be calm, and then when the price surges, we want to be there before the price surges. So the weekly performance between -2 and 2. Now, monthly performance, we do want more action on the monthly. This will create that higher peak of the very top of the wedge, which is what we want. So we want that between -5 and 5. You can do 8 or 10 and 10, but 5 and 5 will be nice and tight. And I think you'll find a short enough list, but long enough list where you'll have some options in it. So 5 and 5, but you can do 10 and 10, 8 and 8, even 20 and 20 if you want a larger list. But 5 and 5, nice, list under 30 names. Now this is very important because we want to get this as the price is working its way out of the wedge. So we want to make sure that the 10 EMA is crossing the 20 EMA. That means that we are now in an environment where we are moving up. We're moving through the wedge. So we want it to be the EMA 10 crosses EMA 20. Okay. We want to make sure that the 50 is below the price. So we want the price to be above the 50. So on the screener, simple moving average 50 below last. That means the last price, which means that the price will be above the 50. Okay. We don't want anything under the 50 is junk. Okay. Moving on. Simple moving average 200. We want that below the 50. If the price is above the 50 and the 50 is above the 200, then we are in an environment where we can start making some money. We don't want any junk that's under $10 that's below the 50, and we certainly don't want the 50 to be below the 200. So simple moving average 200 needs to be below simple moving average 50. Okay. And that's it. Okay. We don't want to mess with anything else. Monthly volatility, 6-month performance. We don't want to mess with anything. You can tweak it and play with it, but you know, for me, I think we want to give more options. We don't want to limit ourselves, because sometimes if you start tweaking with volume and tweaking with some of this other stuff, relative volume, um, then you will just get a smaller list. And you want a long enough list where you have options, but you don't want it to be too long where there's not any options. So that's it. So you just want to click it when you're done. You'll name it. It will have a star here. So whenever you make changes, let's say I go index Dow Jones comp. So I'm going to make some changes. It'll have the star here. So whenever the star here means you have unsaved changes. So if that's the case, then you click there and you say save screen as, and then you can either do a different name or you can just save it like that. But I'm not making those changes. So I'm going to hit no. I don't want that change. So I have my view as a custom view. I like to see the price, the change, the move, the average, and the relative volume. You can simply do an overview. This is, I think, how it normally looks, but this has market cap, the PE, employees, sector. I don't necessarily need to see all that. Performance, so you can. These are all the views that TradingView gives you. For me, I have a custom one that I make, and then you can just filter it however you want to. This will filter from low to high, relative volume. So, like, if you're doing this intraday, then you would want the relative volume to be the highest, breaking the wedge. So now that we're here, we have the view. We've made a filters. We've saved it. We named it. Now you can go through and you can start looking at your charts. So I've already gone through. Out of 26, I've found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 setups. Not all of them are A1 setups, but they're pretty dang good, at least interesting enough to mark. So without further ado, this is how I would go through the list. You click on the first one, you see what's going on, you make a trend line from the highest point through a middle point to the lowest point. And then ideally what you want to see is you want to see volume drying up, and you want the ATR to be drying up as well, going down. But so this is a perfect example. So this move has already happened. So we missed it, which is no problem because there is this middle touch of the resistance. So this is another potential entry point. Depending on how the volume looks, it's probably going to gap up. You don't want to chase gap ups. But ideally, you want the volume to be under the moving average when you have it on your watch list, and then you enter the position when the volume is surging through the moving average. So we'll keep going through. And then so you just can click down. I don't like this setup. Again, high volume, so we're not going to mark it. Go through it. I don't like this setup, not long enough. So one thing I do to double check, I go weekly. And yes, this is making a very nice weekly base, but the volume's already come in. And I just don't like it. So I'm going to go back to daily, and I'm going to scroll down to the next one, PMAR. I don't like it. Let's go down FFMWM. So this, nice. We've gone down. We've touched the 200. We've gone up. We hit the resistance. We come down to hit the 200. We've gone back up, hit the resistance. Now we touch the 200 once again, and we're working our way back up. So this is interesting. This is something I think might be a winner. The volume did come in a lot here, but we know that this is the environment that I'm in right now because we are doing the whole Russia Ukraine market bounce sort of thing. We're happening, so we're getting a lot of these really two really big candles. So for now, I'm going to put it on the watch list. Doesn't mean that I have to enter it. Keep going down. AUB, same thing. This is really nice. You have a strong uptrend, kind of basing out a little bit. You have this base here at 42. On the weekly, you have 1, 2, 3. So it comes down and then it starts, and it's respecting this line and it has this big hammer. Volume's drying up. On the daily, volume is drying up. Then you have this nice move. So if it continues, it'll break 42.15 and 42.65, and then it will keep going. So I like this move. I wish I caught it earlier, but that's fine. Okay. We're not messing with this. Keep going down. VNR, VNE. So this happens because it picks up stocks and ETFs, but you just ignore it. No problem. It's only 26 names. This should only take about 10 minutes. INDB. Now, this is a really nice one. So this is super long. So you go to the weekly. This is you have a wedge inside of the wedge. So for me, I have an alert set here, and I will enter it on high volume as it's crossing 93.52, I think. Would be a good entry point here. So you see the volume drying up, ATR is drying up, a little bit of pop here. So I mark it. You can just mark it if you like it here. You can mark your colors, and then it will go into a list. Okay. TSN. I don't like it. Move on. CBTX. I love this. This is awesome. So nice long base here. Kind of work its way out. It's respecting the 50. And if we can make a move higher, I think it will continue to the 32 and then much higher after that. So market. Perfect. Look at this. This is on the weekly. Kind of making a small cup and handle, very small cup and handle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks with the bigger move after 79.10. This is really nice. I like this. This is like a little tiny wedge on a bigger move here. In fact, 79. This is really nice. Moving on, HEI. This is still a weekly. Not bad. I don't love the setup, but it has good earnings. So I think maybe if it can make it over 146 on high volume, we'll see 152 and higher. And then we'll just keep going. And so this is what I do. You get about 20, between 25 and 30 names usually. Not everything works, but at least sometimes you'll find a monster like this. Super long base, months and months and months of basing. It's gone down and now it's going back up. So if it can clear 72.50, this will be a monster move, I think. This is very nice, respecting the 200. Hit the 50, hit the 200, ate it up, holding over the 50, just waiting. Look at the volumes the volume's been drying up, and it will just blast through that, hopefully on high volume, and make a really nice winner. Look at the volume dry up. This is really nice. This is like the high alert one. This is like the one. So if you can find one a week, I mean, that's all you really need. So this is, I think, the one. In fact, I might post about that. And then we'll just keep going. Here's another one. Again, volume is drying up. Respect the 200, respect the 50. So you switch over to the weekly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it drops down and then it's working its way back up. And then hopefully, you can make an entry over 36.75, and then the higher entry, for the higher move, 38. Very nice. And I think that's it. One more, VRI. Let's look at the daily. I don't love this one, but something like that. Volume is drying up. Could work, but I'm not that interested. Just kind of boring to me. I want a stronger move up. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Um, but yep, this is my wedge finder on TradingView. I'll go through it once or twice a week, but definitely on the weekends. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments or on my Twitter, Ollie _ all caps. Thank you.